My name is Alan, and welcome to Win the Day Project channel. We talk about all things systems and systems thinking, helping busy professionals achieve their health, wealth, and happiness goals. And I'm excited today to talk about success. How do we find it? You know, when we're busy professionals, we want to be successful in our careers, successful in our lives, successful in our relationships. But it can be challenging, I know it was for me. And today, we're going to talk about how I solved it, and hopefully that brings some value to you and any struggles that you're having. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please click the subscribe button so you're alerted anytime that we drop a new video. We try to launch 3 videos a week, and let's get started. So let's talk about success. It's something that we all strive for. We work really hard in our careers trying to achieve it. Success, advancement, promotion, a certain level of achievement within our corporations, maybe in our own business. We want success in our relationships, success in our personal lives, success all over the place. At least that was true for me. I knew that I wanted to be successful in the Army when I was in it. Then once I got out, it was all about being successful in corporate America, which translated to climbing the corporate ladder, working more hours than my peers, taking the tough jobs, doing all the things necessary to make sure that I hit that goal that I wanted to achieve, the promotion that I wanted to make, the amount of money, salary I wanted to take home. I was focused in on those types of things, and I was making decisions to further those chances of me being successful. And then lo and behold, I wake up one day, 32 years old, I'm divorced, I'm overweight, I am broke. I have a good job, not a great job based on my experience. And despite all the effort and energy and hours put in, I wasn't successful. At least not as successful as I wanted to be, not in the place that I wanted to be, not with the people that I wanted to be. So success had eluded me, despite all the effort, energy, sacrifice, etc. So, why did that happen? How did I get there? You fast forward 10 years later, and I find myself happily remarried to my best friend. Now I own my own two businesses, living the life that I want, happier than I've ever been, healthier than I've ever been. How did I accomplish all those things? Well, 3 things had to change for me, and I think that can make all the difference in achieving the success that you want out of life. So these 3 things helped me, and I'm hopeful that these 3 things can help you as well. Zig Ziglar was a salesman, author, motivational speaker from the 70s and 80s, and he has this fantastic quote that I'd love to share with you. You can't hit a target you cannot see, and you cannot see a target you do not have. And for me, that was the foundational issue that I had with hitting and achieving success. So number 1, you have to be able to define what success actually means for you. So why don't you down in the comments go ahead and write down how you define success, how you define it. And you might be surprised at how hard it is to write out what that actually means. I know when I was at my rock bottom that I had to do some deep soul searching. I had done everything that the experts had told me to do. I had done the things that my advisors had told me to do. And then somehow I had found myself in the complete opposite situations I wanted to be in. And I realized during that time that I hadn't sat down and actually defined, articulated clearly what success meant for me. And without a target, without a destination, how can you end up in the right place, right? So, define a success, and now I can point to a specific list of things that I'm trying to accomplish each day, each week, each month, each year. My wife and I spend a lot of time thinking about and planning out our goals for the year, and then milestones throughout the month and weeks as we check in on our status on those things. Things that I take for granted now, but I had no idea how to do earlier in life, and as I look back at my rock bottom, I realized that it wasn't some grand event that resulted in me divorced, overweight, broke, et cetera, at my rock bottom. Instead, it was a series of decisions made over and over and over again that resulted in that reality for me. So without a clear definition of success, there's no way for me to sit down and figure out how to determine if I'm on the right track or wrong track, heading in the right direction or the wrong direction. There's no way for me to determine that unless I have it clearly defined, clearly understood, laid out, written out description of what I deem as success. I used to focus exclusively on, am I making a certain amount of salary, but that doesn't directly lead to wealth building. I used to work out regularly, but that doesn't mean that you're healthy, right? And I used to spend time investing in relationships that were ultimately not making me happy. But now I can sit back and say that my definition of success centers around my three pillars: health, wealth, and happiness. And then I go on to define those types of things. And I've done that in several earlier videos, and I'll link one right here for you all to go check out. But defining success is ultimately the first place you have to start. And it took me 30 plus years on this planet to figure out that I hadn't done a good job defining what I actually wanted out of life. And now I clearly articulate that, and we regularly cover that, my wife and I, in our vision discussions and where we're headed. So if you can't answer a simple question, like I mentioned down in the comments, how do you define success? And it may be an opportunity for you to take a look at, hey, I haven't done the very first thing I need to do in order to achieve success, which is define it. So, step number 2, we have to be honest about why we aren't achieving our definition of success. So, maybe you have a loose definition, maybe not the best in the world, but you have something that you're working towards, like I was. Or maybe you have it completely well defined and you're ahead of the curve and you're still not achieving the success that you laid out for yourself. And now we have to ask the fundamental question, why that's happening. At the time of hitting rock bottom, I had spent a career as a systems engineer, process improvement specialist. So what that meant, I spent my time inside of organizations, corporations, the government, businesses big and small, taking a look at processes and trying to improve them, trying to change the outcomes that the person paying me was experiencing. And many times that meant going beyond the surface level issues that we were seeing and trying to identify the root causes that were driving the unwanted behavior. During my rock bottom period, I realized that I should start utilizing that skill set that I had inside of companies and use it on myself. So now I'm trying to understand what the root causes are that are causing me to do things that were counter to where I supposedly wanted to be in life, but instead I ended up in a direct opposite. I knew I wanted to be healthy. Both of my parents had died in their 50s, but somehow I still find myself at rock bottom, overweight, pre-diabetic, drinking and eating way too much food. I knew I wanted to be wealthy and rich. I said that out loud. I wrote it down as a New Year's resolution to increase my wealth and build my bank accounts, but I find myself at my rock bottom broke, without a car and unable to put down first and last month's rent. And I wanted to be in a happy relationship, but again, I found myself divorced. I had made a series of decisions that made me end up in this place that I didn't want to be. I had to take an honest assessment of why that was. And utilizing all of my systems engineering skills, the root cause became pretty obvious to me, and that is I had a series of limiting beliefs about myself, a series of them. I didn't think I was able to be rich because I couldn't sing or dance or play sports at any high level, so how in the world could I possibly become financially free? And that led me to take actions that made me end up being financially unstable. happiness was elusive because I didn't think happiness was something I could achieve. When I was in the military, as an example, I always thought to myself, there's no reason to get too happy or too high, because eventually you'll come back to earth, something will ground you. And in my mind, it was easier to make that fall as short as possible. Don't get too high, you won't get too low, or you won't hurt as much when you fall back down. So happiness then was elusive on purpose, at least subconsciously. And the same went with my health goals for myself. I didn't think I was worth the effort or investment, that my life expectancy was going to be short anyway, so why bother? It's easy to say now, it's easy to look at it now and say these are the things that I was thinking, but at the time, if you pressed me on it, I wouldn't be able to tell you. It takes a lot of internal work, a lot of honest conversations with yourself, a lot of self-reflection to understand why you make certain decisions that are contrary to where you want to be and what you want to do. Hitting rock bottom provided clarity for me. It stripped away any illusions of where I was or what I was about or what I was doing was correct. Rock bottom for me was a fantastic place where I was forced to deal with my reality. And had I not hit it, I would have continued to go on and on and on, saying one thing, but doing something else behind the scenes, doing the self-sabotage to address the limiting beliefs that I had about myself. So, yeah, we have to take time to understand why we aren't achieving success. And when you do that self-work, you can really start to unlock the things that are holding you back. All right, and finally, step number 3, I had to change my mindset. We often view health, wealth, and happiness as separate parts, separate individual things that we need to pursue, chase, advance towards. Multitasking is bad, right? We can need to find specialists in each to help us achieve our goals. Separate, 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 separate is what we are taught. One thing I had finally started to understand was that health, wealth, and happiness are interconnected. They are part of the larger system that is us, that is me. And that when I started treating them that way, I started to uncover the power in the interconnectedness. So let me explain. In systems theory, they talk a lot about the power of the system. And if you break a car, for example, into its smaller parts, well, you no longer have a vehicle that can transport you from one location to another. So if I take a car and I take it apart, the original function of that system was to move me from point A to point B. Once I start taking it apart, I have an engine, but an engine by itself cannot move you from point A to point B. And optimizing an engine and then trying to put it back together isn't ideal because it may not fit. Other parts in the car may now break because I put too much power in the engine, and the valves and the gaskets can't support that type of power that I put in the engine. And now the whole is no longer as efficient as it was before because I took one part of it and I started to work on it, and then I tried to put it back together. So just some systems theory to get us started. So when we think about our health, wealth, and happiness, we typically try and take one part and work on it and then put it back into the whole system. And what really finally dawned on me is that when you start working on all 3 of those things together at the same time, you get the power that's associated with the interconnectedness of them. Here's an example. If I want to improve my health, I'll go to the gym and I work out. But when I do that, I'm also improving my wealth, right? I'm delaying that doctor bill. I'm delaying that hospital visit. I'm delaying the onset of lifestyle associated diseases by working out. So I'm actually, when I exercise and improve my health, I'm actually improving my wealth as well. And I get to go back to my house and check off on my list that I improved my health today by working out. I improved my wealth today by working out. And I get to check 2 things off my list, which improves my happiness. Working out also reduces my stress. It's a great stress reliever and stress management tool. So now I get to be happier over time. You start looking at wealth the same way. If I want to improve my wealth, well, one way to improve my wealth is to not eat out as much, not to drink as much. The entertainment line on my budget gets to go smaller. That improves my health, right? Because it's way healthier to eat at home, all things being equal, caloric intake being equal, et cetera, et cetera. It's healthier to eat at home than it is to eat out. So when I improve my wealth by reducing my line item on my entertainment budget, I'm also improving my health at the same time. And so on and on and on it goes. It provides, when you think about health, wealth, and happiness as a holistic system as opposed to its individual parts, it provides you the opportunity to have more reasons to achieve your goals, which is always fantastic. James Clear talks about that in his book, Atomic Habits. Let's start stacking reasons onto why we want to do behavior change, and by doing that, we increase the odds that we actually execute behavior change. Well, I know we have a lot of things pulling on us as busy professionals. I get it. But I just wanted to share with you some of the things that I went through as I tried to achieve the success that I laid out for myself, and I fell short. So, just as a recap, make sure you're defining success for yourself. Create a vision that makes sense for you and the goals that you want to accomplish, and make sure that vision is as vivid and as clear for you as you possibly can. Number 2, you got to figure out what is preventing me from achieving those goals that I've set for myself or achieving the success that I've defined for myself. You might be the lucky few who've already got a clear vision and you're not achieving it. Or you're like me and you had some semblance of a plan, some goals, and you just weren't seeing the success that you want. For me, the reason why I wasn't achieving the goals that I wanted to, the success that I wanted, was because I had a bunch of limiting beliefs. And I had to do that internal work to figure out what those internal limiting beliefs were and taking action to fix those. And I'll probably do a whole video on just those three of the most limiting beliefs that I had, because they were pretty powerful, and I'm really proud of the work that I've done to figure out those types of workarounds and addressing those negative belief systems or limiting belief systems that I had. And number 3, finally, thinking about how we address health, wealth, and happiness. 3 foundations that I believe are critical to a successful life. And if you focus on those 3 as individual parts, you miss out on the interconnections between those, which are really powerful and allow us to use key leverage points that cross multiple focus areas. So I can do something that improves my health, wealth, and happiness all at the same time. And I get to stack reasons on top of each other that makes it more likely than not that I make the behavior change that I want. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you for staying to the end. Again, like this video. It really helps us with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to drop 3 videos a week. We're working very hard to make that happen. Thanks for staying on. I appreciate you.